How can beginners become successful entrepreneurs? That's what I'm gonna answer in today's video. And if you like videos like this, make sure to hit subscribe and smash the like button.
Hi, I'm Dan Henry. I used to deliver pizza and sell water bottles to pay my rent. Then I discovered entrepreneurship and grew a $20 million online business. Subscribe to my channel and I'll show you how.
Hey everybody, Dan Henry here, and today's question comes from Raul. How can a beginner become like you? Well, I'm gonna assume that what you mean is how can a beginner become a successful entrepreneur? I don't want to be as pretentious as to say become like me, because there's a lot of successful entrepreneurs. I wouldn't try to put myself above anybody. But I would say that the biggest thing to remember, and this is a funny question because I get this question all the time, how can a beginner do what you do? And I always am perplexed by this question because I sit there and I say to myself, well, it's not like I wasn't a beginner. You know, at some point I was a beginner. I believe everybody is a beginner. So to me, I always say to myself, what is driving you to ask that question? Like, what's going on in your mindset for you to even articulate it that way? Because it's a flawed question, and I don't mean to say it's a, there's no such thing as stupid questions, but when I say flawed question, I mean it's flawed in the logic behind how it's articulated. Because by saying how can a beginner become like you, you are assuming, you are setting the precedent that I or other successful people weren't beginners, and that you are in a special situation. You are special, you are different than me or different than this person, and therefore you need a separate set of instructions, you need a separate set of rules, you need your own little unique reality. And that's the thing, is that's not true, because I was in the same position you were, Raul. I was in the same position everybody was. Jeff Bezos was in the same position. He was like in his 30s or 40s or something, selling used books. I mean, everybody is a beginner at some point. And so instead of me answering that question, I'd like to maybe expand your mind a little bit on why you're asking the question. This is what's holding you back. So here's the answer. If you think that you have a different set of rules, a different set of instructions, a different situation than someone else that you look up to, you fundamentally miss the thing that made that person successful. And that is that nobody's unique. And it doesn't matter if you had an advantage or a disadvantage, right? Like, some people say, well, I have a disadvantage because I was born here, or because my family wasn't wealthy, or because I was born in a place that didn't have access to as much public infrastructure as this place. I couldn't go and meet people. I live in the woods. I live in, the middle of Louisiana or Mississippi, and my best friend is a possum, or whatever, But the truth is I view that like golf, right? Like when you play golf, you have the red tees, the white tees, and the blue tees. So the red tees are closest to the hole, and I believe the blue tees are the furthest away from the hole. And so when you start at the blue tees, and I could have these mixed up, but when you start at the blue tees, you're further away. So they do this handicap system where basically if you're not that good at golf, you get to start from the red or the white tees. And if you are good at golf, you start from the blue tees, as to make it fair, because you have longer to shoot for the hole. And so I've always viewed life like that. Like, some people get to start from the red tee. They're closer to the hole. Maybe they were born with some sort of advantage, or they were born in a place, like maybe you want to be a public speaker, and obviously if you're born in New York, you have an advantage over somebody that's born in Idaho or something. And so that person might be shooting from the red tees, and you might be shooting from the blue tees. You may be farther away from the hole, but at the end of the day is you can still get to the hole. You swing the club, and yeah, maybe it takes you 1 or 2 or 3, maybe even 4 strokes to get to the green, more than that other person because they were closer to the hole. Sure, but it doesn't matter, because the only competition you should have is with yourself. It's not a competition. As long as you get to the hole and you finish the game and you get to that 18th hole and you drop that ball in the hole, you have completed the course. And that's the thing, is stop worrying about if somebody has an advantage. Who cares? It doesn't matter. Play the game, swing the club, get to the hole. That's the thing. And so my advice for beginners is stop caring that you're a beginner, because we were all beginners, period. End of story. Pick up a book, learn. Pick up another book, learn. Find somebody that knows what you want to know. Pay them, learn, go out, do things. It's what we all did. So I wish I could answer that question, but that question is BS, and I got to call BS on it. The answer to the question is learn to think differently, right? Like, if I was asking that question, I would say, Dan, if you could go back in time as a beginner, knowing what you know now, what things would you put more time on, and what things would you put less time and energy on to get to where you are now faster? That's what I would ask, not how can a beginner become like you? Because it sets that precedent that you are under a different set of rules. You're not under a different set of rules. You're not playing a different game. One of the reasons I do what I do, I put out YouTube videos, I sell consulting and online coaching programs, is because my job is, I started way back here. I started from the blue tees, right? If I can coach somebody and I can share all the mistakes I made, because I didn't have a teacher when I first came on the up and up. I got consulting and stuff later, but when I first, I had to learn all this stuff myself. So if I can get you to start from the red tees, or hell, if I can even get you to go past the red tees and start in the middle of the fairway, then I've done my job. But you still got to swing the club. You still got to play the game. I hope this is helpful, and don't forget to subscribe. And if you have a question that you'd like me to answer, post it in the comments. I'll see you in the next one. Later.